Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Udur Jagero, and this is Dialogues with Jagero. We have been doing a beautiful series called Conscious Uncoupling with Christine Mudhoni, a lawyer based here in Nairobi, and also a divorce coach. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I can be better. Nairobi is flooded. Yesterday, my friend sent me a video of a house in Runda. The water was on the windows.
Oh my, I think I saw the same video.
Yes.
And they were using a boat to go around the house.
No, that was an Indian lady.
Yes.
But this was different.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, we have been doing our series. We have talked about three important things, and I think that in episode 4 we are going to be talking about matrimonial property and child custody. The only thing that I remember about divorce is the children, you know, back and forth.
Yeah.
Are they at the mother's house? Are they at the father's house? The father doesn't want them to go to the mother's house. The mother sometimes doesn't want them to go there. And then there are a lot of rich men in the city that when they get divorced, the women, for example, are living in Runda or living in Kileleshwa or living somewhere very affluent. Then the marriage is over and they realize that, oh, I am going back to I don't know where, you know.
Yes.
So, can you tell me a little bit about what really happens? For example, you've realized that, okay, this divorce, I think that the question of matrimonial property and child custody come after the completion of the divorce case. Is it correct?
No, not really. Child custody can go at the same time with the divorce. Division of the property is what we deal with it after the divorce. And that's the thing about divorce. It affects all areas of someone's life. If there were children involved, they get highly affected. If there was property, businesses, everything is affected.
Yeah.
And we don't have to involve the law when we can agree. You see this back and forth that you talked about, whereby the children are moving from the father's house to the mother's house. Sometimes one of them is denying the other one custody. Sometimes there's a huge change of lifestyle for the children. All that doesn't have to happen if the couple can just uncouple consciously. So the court only gets involved when there is a lot of disagreement and acrimony. So basically by the time the marriage is ending, you've already seen signs of the marriage coming to end. And it is at that point where I would advise couples to sit down and talk about the children especially. Because what's going to happen to the children? Fine, our relationship is not working, our marriage is not working, but do we have to take the children through the whole grieving process, through the whole disruption of, you know, us separating and all that? Is it really in the best interest of the children? How is it affecting the children, you know, physically, socially, mentally, all around? And so if you can talk and agree who will have custody, you don't have to go to court. However, the thing about divorce is that people don't divorce because they're so happy. They don't divorce because their marriage is thriving. There were problems. So by the time it's coming to now, this is it, they are not in talking terms. They hate each other. They want to punish each other. They want to put the other one through as much pain as possible, which is very wrong, but it's a human emotion. Again, we understand. And that's where now you find the one who moves out with the children, which is mostly the mother, and she doesn't want anything to do with this man. So she denies him custody. Most of the time, she doesn't even say where she's gone, because gone are the days women would leave their husbands and go back to their parents' place. This man knows where he got this woman from. He'll just go back there. But nowadays, you find a woman has rented a house somewhere. She's taken the kids. The man has no idea where they are. He may not be interested in knowing where she is, but how about his kids? And that's when now he goes to court. That's where the court process comes in. In fact, most of the time I find that people go to court, they start with the children first before they even file for divorce itself. I don't know if you remember, we talked about the process and we said there are 3 different cases: the divorce, the children's matter, and the division of property. So you find people have separated, not filed for divorce, but they have filed for a suit in the children's court. So when you file for a suit in the children's court, it can either be for child support or for access and visitation.
So there is child support, there is matrimonial property, and then there is a custody.
There's child support, which comes together with custody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's tied together.
Yes. Child support and custody, and then the divorce. The divorce is between the man and the woman. Has nothing to do with the children, nothing to do with the property. And then the last one is for property, the three of them. So you find
but you can talk about child custody without child support.
You can actually. Some people don't need support. Yeah. So you ask for what you need. Yes, the child has a right to get care and provision from both parents equally. But there are some people who just don't need it. Yeah. So for instance, if the lady is the one who's moved out with the children and she doesn't need child support, she does not need to file anything in court. But you see, if there is so much acrimony...
Or she might need but decide not to bother.
Not to bother because, again, it's not a free process. You have to think about the legal fees if you're going to use a lawyer. And are you going to pay a lawyer or are you going to use the money you have to take care of the children? Those are some of the things you think about before you file for children's matter, child support. However, if she has the means to file for support, because sometimes you may find that she has changed the lifestyle of the children so drastically that it's really affecting the children. Yeah, she can take care of them, yes, but it's a different lifestyle altogether. So she has money and she can pay the lawyers. She will file for child support, only child support, and custody as well. Sometimes you file for joint custody, which I will explain what that is. Sometimes you file for sole custody, but if you're filing for sole custody, you don't file for support. Because sole custody is whereby you want the legal custody of the child, which means the man is not in the children's life. You are the one who makes all the major decisions about the children. Like if you need to travel out of the country and you have sole custody, you don't need the father's consent, so you don't even need to inform him. If maybe perhaps, God forbid, one of the children has a medical emergency, you don't need to consult the father. You can just make the decision. Go ahead, give the treatment that is needed, and anything major to do with the child, you have sole custody, you can make all the decisions. However, if you still want child support, it means that the father is in the life, or you want the father to be in the life of the children. So you can't cut him off completely. So what you'll be asking for is physical custody. Physical custody just means you're living under the same roof. You're the primary custodian of the children, and joint legal custody. So joint legal custody is whereby you have to consult the father. The father is still present in the children's life. So what you do is you apply for child support, and then the father will now come in after he's been served and now ask the court for, I also want to access the children. Some will do that, some won't. There are some who just don't want to be in the life of the children. So it's not a must. So when you file that and the response comes and you go to court and you're heard, then most of the time the court will try to be very fair to both parties. Not because it's about the parties, but because it's about the children. So it doesn't matter what you'll put there in paper, but what is best for the children. Because I can take the children, but I'm so broke. This thing of changing the lifestyle of the children, I'm living, maybe I don't even have a place. I don't have a permanent residence. And I've removed the children from a very nice neighborhood where they were just walking to school, 5 minutes, they're there. They had friends there, they had a church community and all that. And now I'm hopping from one house. Today I'm living with my cousin. Next month my cousin is tired of me. I'm living with a friend. You see, that's not good. In as much as I want to have the children, and it's always best for young children to be with the mom, it's not good for the children. So in such times, if we were in talking terms with the ex-husband, I would say, okay, fine, it's not working. You keep the children until I'm stable and give me access. You see, let's have joint custody with you being the primary physical custodian. I will move around all my relatives' houses, my friends, but I can come and visit them on Saturdays on the evenings, every evening. We agree. If we can't agree, the court decides for us. And what I like about the court system nowadays, it's very family-centric, that it doesn't like to issue orders and then compel you to follow them. It will actually give you an opportunity to sit down, the two of you. Because in as much as you're fighting, nobody knows what's best for your children the way you know as the parent. Nobody. The court has like 100 cases it's dealing with. Is it going to listen to the nitty-gritty details of each and every one of them? It will not. But if you can put your differences aside for a second and say, this is what is going on right now. We are not getting back together, but we still have to raise these children. What is best for the children? Do not punish me by failing to pay their school fees, or do not punish me by hiding them, not letting me know where you live and I can't access them, and we agree. If we can put that down in writing, the better. And when you put it down in writing, it will be adopted as an order of the court. Yes.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. And then how do we? So we are we have agreed on child custody.
Yeah.
We have not agreed on matrimonial property. And today I hear that it's very nuanced. People do not know what. The other day somebody was talking about the fact that I was not out in your real estate business, going around houses and talking to construction workers and giving money and doing all these things, but I'm at home taking care of the children. So that means that counts as support. I have been a backbone for this business, because when you come from work, you have a warm place to come to.
Yes.
You find food is already done for you, and that's what gives you the energy to wake up tomorrow and deal with the real estate. So I'm part of what oils the machine that makes that takes care of this business. What are some, before you get into it, what are some of the arguments that a spouse can always bring forth, when somebody is saying that, okay, they were not involved in the building of this business?
Exactly what you've said. What you've described is contribution in kind. And contribution in kind is just contribution that is non-financial. Because how property is divided nowadays is as per your contribution. So what is it that you contributed? For example, if we bought a house, let's say I contributed 20 million and you contributed 50 million. So your contribution is that 50 million minus the 20 million. And since you have the bigger share of it, you can buy me off with that 20 million. Depending on other circumstances, of course. I can come and say, fine, I didn't contribute anything financial, but the same way you said, I was at home and made sure that everything was running smoothly. Yeah? If it was not for me, you'd not have had that energy to go out there, make money, get that whole amount of money, all those millions, and buy this house. So I have to show that, number one, I have your kids, which, by the way, it's not a must, but the fact that I have your children and I have been nurturing them and raising them is part of the non-financial contribution. Otherwise, how would you be able to take care of these children without me in the picture? Yes, you'll get a nanny, but I was there. I got the nanny. I made sure I supervised everything. Your clothes were clean. They were ironed. There was a homely environment in the house. You had peace of mind. Without that peace of mind, could you have been able to do all that? Yeah, I gave you support, moral support. All those ideas you had, we talked about them. I encouraged you. That is part of contribution. Now, the only problem with that kind of contribution is that it's not quantifiable financially. It cannot justify me coming to ask for 50% of the property. Yeah? And it has to be left to the court to decide. So the court will say, your contribution in kind is worth 10% of the entire matrimonial property, or it's worth 20%. I can buy you off, you can buy me off, or you can give me some properties, because it's not about each property divided by, it's all of them cumulatively. We have sijui how many plots in the coast. We have a matrimonial home. We have residential rental apartments, all of them together. I'm getting what percent because of my contribution in kind. When the court decides that, then we decide whether you're buying me off, pay me cash equivalent of that, or you're giving me a piece of property that is equivalent to 10% of the whole amount, or whatever we can agree. And that's why I always say it's always better to agree, because even if property is being divided as per your contribution, when you get married, you don't think about keeping receipts. You know, you're so in love and you're seeing yourself being in that marriage till death does you part. And in any case, you're thinking anything you own is family property. At worst, our children will inherit it. So when you come and you buy furniture for the house, you don't keep the receipts. When you go out there and buy what? A piece of land, of course I'll come and tell you, oh, here is the property I'm looking at, let's go and see it. If you like it, we'll buy. But I'm the one who's taking a loan because I have access, you know. You never see yourself having to produce receipts, yeah? But when it comes to that point, now you go back to your bank and say, okay, where is the offer letter? Yeah, the deductions you are deducting from my pay slip, that's the evidence I'm going to use in court.
Yeah. How about if I give you 3 million in cash?
Now, how do you prove you gave it to me? That's the thing. How do you prove you gave it to me? If we are fighting, I will simply deny. You never gave me anything. You can't prove it. Even when it comes to the sale agreement, it's me. I looked for the property. I met the seller. We signed the agreement. You could have even given me the whole amount. But how do you prove you gave it to me? I'm the one who went and did the bank transfer. I purchased this property. And I will disenfranchise you because we are fighting. I'm just being malicious. And so that's why I usually say it's better to uncouple consciously, because that way you're not out to disenfranchise one another. You've actually agreed, yes, it's not working. And what is not working is us being together. If we were not together, if we didn't have any marital obligation toward each other, then in that case, everything else will fall into place. And I can tell you, honestly, you gave me that 3 million. And because I don't have any ill feelings or vendetta against you, yes, I will admit it. And we don't even have to go and be heard by court. I will simply give you what is yours. And when you approach this uncoupling process with such kindness, such openness, such honesty, you find that your partner doesn't want to fight you. Yeah? He will also reciprocate if he's human enough, which I hope he is, and say, you know what, it's okay. Since you're the one with the children, let me give you this. You take this, I bought it, but you take this. You helped me develop. You are kind enough, you took care of my kids. You gave me kids, you know? So let's divide it this way. And then you come up with an agreement of how you'll divide it. And then together with that, you can have it adopted as a consent, or it can just be an agreement between the two of you. But when there is anger, there is vendetta, there is hatred, there is all that, you're just thinking of, how can this person do this to me? How dare they betray me in this way? I thought we were going to last forever. So because of that pain, the first thing you think about is, how am I going to get back at this person? And one way of getting back at this person is making sure they're left with nothing. Yeah? And you forget that they have physical custody of your children, or the other way around. And so you go to court and you file for division of matrimonial property. Then you list down all the properties which you acquired during the subsistence of the marriage. That is what is matrimonial property. But what you had before, that is not matrimonial property. But also, you may have had property before and you came into the marriage, but your partner helped you develop it. Maybe it was a piece of land and now you've built.
Yeah.
So that is part of contribution. But now, you see, you are having this state of mind where you don't want them to have anything. So this is where now you find cases going on for years and years, because you're hiding some of the property, some of it you've transferred it to other people, just to make sure that she has no access to it.
So the transfer is happening during the...
While the divorce is going on.
Yeah.
Because you see, you cannot divide the property while the divorce has not... Marriage is not yet dissolved. You're still married to each other. But you find some people already know that my partner is this kind of person and he's going to try and disenfranchise me. So you talk to your lawyer, what can we do so that he doesn't hide some of the property, dispose some of it, etc. And if you have a good lawyer, they can help you with that.
How do they do that?
Number one, you can file for declaration of rights in the matrimonial property. Then you have this same property preserved pending hearing and determination of the divorce in the other court. So when the High Court says, yes, we have determined that this is matrimonial property, so none of you can sell it. Either we put injunctions or it's preserved by the court in whichever way. So sometimes you can even have the court declare you a protected person, like where there is domestic violence, and then you can be given access to a part of the house, exclusive occupation of a part of the house or the entire house to protect you while the divorce is still going on. So the perpetrator of the violence will have to move out pending hearing and determination of that divorce suit. Then you come back and now you file for the division. So the property wasn't sold and it wasn't, nothing happened to the property, it's safe. But
how do they stay these orders? For example, I have a house in Alimony that I want to sell. And I've got a seller from Dubai. How does the government, the parties know that he's about to sell this house?
It's difficult to know because if you're the husband and you don't want your wife to know, there's a way you can make sure she doesn't know. Yeah? So some things disappear that way in the middle. So it's up to the wife to actually know, by the way, this is what we own. But there are some people who own property and they hide it. And the wife has no idea. So you will just sell. How will I know? I won't know. Yeah? And what I know, I have a vague idea where it is. I don't even know where it is. So I can't even get the title documents for it, you see. I never thought to actually involve myself in the acquisition of this property because maybe our culture says the man is the one who goes and purchases the property and puts it in his name and holds it in trust for the family. So I trusted my husband so much and I didn't get involved. And then things go haywire and I have no idea what you own. I have no idea where it is. I don't know where to start. So I'll just be going to court saying, I think I have an idea. So please, let's request the court to compel him to release titles.
Yeah.
So how will you be compelled to release vague titles? You may as well say they're not there. Prove it.
So the due diligence basically should start when the marriage starts.
Exactly. That's why I think it's so important to be open.
Yeah.
These things, we don't like talking about them. We don't like talking about prenuptial agreements. We don't like talking about money. We are so in love. I just want to tell you how much I love you. And I don't want to ask you how much you earn, you know.
This is a good time then to talk about prenuptial agreement. What does it entail? I remember a family member went through it and I really wondered what it entails. So how does it, can you talk a little bit of how it works? Is that an area of your expertise?
Yes, it is. So a prenuptial agreement is just an agreement that is made before the nuptials. Before we say I do, we agree. So it's not anything serious. We have to sit in front of a lawyer and the lawyer dictates what needs to be in that agreement. No. It's the man and the woman who dictate what is in that agreement. So in that agreement, you can talk about how you're going to live as man and wife. You can talk about whether you're going to have children or not. You can talk about, yes.
Whether you're going to have children or not.
Yes.
Why is that important to talk about before marriage?
Nowadays, there are people who prefer to be child-free.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
But why put it? Because I think this is just something that you can do over coffee and say, you know, me, if you're looking for somebody to give you children, I'm not the person. So why go ahead and put it in an agreement?
These people who say we can talk about it over coffee may find themselves in problems when they're in the marriage. Because, for instance, if we just talk about it over coffee and say, I want to be child-free as the woman, and you say, okay, fine, that's okay with me, because you're so in love and you just want to get married and you're hoping to change me.
Yeah.
You see, that's a problem. Many people marry with the hope to change their
spouses, yes.
Exactly. Whatever I tell you right now, you won't take it seriously. See, we are just having coffee. You won't take it seriously. Then we get married, and then now you start asking me, okay, what's going on? Why are we not having children? And I tell you, I told you. Didn't I tell you? And you're like, I didn't think you were serious.
Uh-huh.
You know? And then we have problems in the marriage because of that. And you go out there and have a child with someone else. And then I come and say, now you are unfaithful. Yeah? You promised me this, and now you've gone out there, you've betrayed me, you have a child with somebody else, and I want a divorce.
Uh-huh.
And now because I say I want a divorce, I'm losing so much, because in that prenup, we had written, he who is giving up on the marriage, or he who is cheating on the other one, will have to forfeit 1, 2, 3. You see, these are things that you can talk about and agree. They'll keep you accountable in the marriage. They'll also make the court process simpler in case there is any litigation that comes up. You see? I think when you know what you're getting into upfront and you take it seriously, you'll have a smooth marriage. Of course, problems are there, but they'll not be as serious as when you had not talked about this thing. In fact, most people, I don't even know how they get married. They just find themselves married. Someone comes over the weekend, they don't leave. Then they start saying, okay, we are married.
Now, I hope that you're enjoying this program. Over the last 15 years, I have been working online for clients in America, in Europe, and all over the world. And that is why it pains me a lot when I see a lot of African brothers and sisters saying that they do not have a job. Now, this is the problem. A lot of people are trying to look for a job in 2024 in their own town, in their own country, in their local area. Now, the truth is, there are no jobs in Africa, at least not so many jobs. The good news is that we have internet these days. We have a tablet, we have a computer, we have a phone, and that means that we can do a lot of jobs. And those jobs are online. That is why over the last 4 years, I've been writing a book that is called Digital Goldmine. It is a book that explains to you how you can earn money online. The 18 hustles that I've chosen are basically for Africans. Okay? Because what happens when you are doing online jobs is that payment is usually a problem. So these 18 side hustles that I have put together in this book, you can be paid very well and very conveniently. Okay, so the book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. That is about $10. You can buy it in Kenya using paybill number. You can buy it online from anywhere in the world using a credit or a debit card. All the information about this book is in the description below. Just need to go to the description, click on the link, and you can buy this book. And if you have a brother, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a friend who is sitting at home and watching Netflix, please do buy this book for them. If you are the one sitting at home and watching Netflix and have nothing to do, please buy this book and your life is gonna change forever. Because I have been doing this online and I've been traveling and I've been enjoying myself and having a lot of fun. So thank you very much. And now back to program.
Before you know it, you have pressure. Oh, you know, you have to come see my people. And because you love this person, you go see their people. And when you get there, you're given a list of things you need to bring, and then you realize, oh, this is dowry I'm paying. Before you know it, you're married. That's a customary marriage. You never talked about what you want with your life. You never talked about where you're heading, how you're going to raise your children. You may find you're not even in the same religion, and that's a big, big problem. You never got to find out whether this person is working. Again, finances, big, big problem that can lead to divorce. And if they are working, you never got to discuss, are we going to do 50-50 in finances? Or are you going to be the sole provider and I be a housewife? Then you start having problems. My wife is just lazy. She just sits at home doing nothing. You never told her that you require her to work and at the same time run the family, run the home. Problems begin. So if you can just come up with this agreement, As long as you don't put any illegalities.
So you are talking about the list.
The prenup.
Yes, the list, the things that you can agree on. Some of the top things that you can agree on.
Yes, you can agree whether you're going to have children, because some people don't want to have children. Why get married to someone who doesn't want to have a child and you want? So you can just release them, get someone who is aligned with your whatever you want. You can also talk about properties. I came with this property, this is what I own, and I know we are going to develop it. However, let it be clear that this is what I'm coming with. So this is your own individual property, this is your own individual property. Let it not come up in case of anything that you want your children who are out there to inherit mine, which I came. Because sometimes you can even get married to somebody who has another family out there and you're aware. Full disclosure, when we're having that coffee, I will ask you, do you have children? If you're a good man, you'll tell me, yes, I have children. And I'll ask you, are you married? No. When I was young, I had some twins with a girlfriend. She's in the village, but I'm taking care of those children. And I will think whether I want to get involved in this arrangement, because that's a blended family. I can't come into your life and tell you, I don't want you to provide for these children. But if I know you have 2 children out there, and we are going to have children together, what is part of your estate and what is part of my estate? Are we going to bring the properties together, or are you going to keep your individual property, my individual property? Then when we come into marriage, we build together, and then for the other family, you build by yourself.
Must you build together? There's 2 separate entities. For example, I have a string of, let's say I am running a shopping center in Kawangware, for example, and I'm having, let's say, 30 shops there. I built it with my loan before marriage. I developed it. I am now getting money from it. And then I come into marriage, and the guy that is also coming to marriage has also a fleet of transportation cars. You know, those lorries that are going to South Sudan, Congo, and Uganda. So he's coming with that. I am coming with these from for my shops in Kawangware. You know, now we are coming here into this marriage. Do we have to develop them together, or we can just say develop yours, I develop mine?
Those are the things you talk about before you get into marriage. And if I tell you develop yours, I develop mine, are you okay with that? Because there's some people who will not be okay with that. I mean, I'm sharing everything with you. Why am I not allowed to share your property? You know, it can cause conflict. But if you're on the same page, then we can agree. What you came with is yours. I can help you with whatever you want to do with it, but I will never claim it in case of divorce. See, that's the thing. A prenup can also discuss about what happens in case of divorce. Not that you're attracting it, but you're alive and you're awake to the fact that it can happen. Yeah? And if it happens, I will not claim this property and this property because you came with it before we got married. I also will not claim your fleet of trucks, and I will not, you know, I will just leave that to you. What we will be claiming is what we built together. You can agree on that and put it there. You can also say, in case of divorce, we shall amalgamate everything we have and divide it 50-50 for your own reasons. Yeah? For your own reasons. Or you can also agree, when we divorce, if we do, I will give you everything that was yours, and I will continue supporting you in terms of alimony, and I'll also support you in terms of child support, because I want you to have the physical custody.
There is alimony and there is child support.
Yes.
What's the difference?
Alimony is for the ex-spouse.
What is it? Pocket money?
Yes. Yeah. There are some women who, when you get into
a salon.
Yeah, salon, dressing up, you know, your facials, your massages, your scrubs, everything.
And for my shoes,
maintenance.
For my Nike shoes.
Yes, I can also give you alimony if you ask for it.
Do women give alimony?
We do. The problem with Kenyan men is they don't ask for it.
Oh yeah?
Yes, but mostly it's a foreign concept, because in Kenya what happens is it's difficult for you to get alimony unless you really prove that you cannot earn your own money. Perhaps you are incapacitated in some way and you are a direct dependent immediately prior to the divorce. I was taking care of you fully immediately prior to the divorce. and you're
immediately prior means what?
Like,
that's a pretty thick jargon over there.
Let's say we are together now, 2024, the month of May, we are together. You're incapacitated in some way. Maybe you had
an accident?
Yes. And so you're fully dependent on me. My medical cover is the one that's taking care of all your bills, your medication, physiotherapy, or whatever. And because of that, you're not working. Wherever you are working, perhaps you're finished your paid sick leave, and now they've told you, sort yourself. So I've been taking care of you fully 100%. But then come September, I get tired. I'm still taking care of you, the house, I'm working and everything, but I want a divorce now. You can actually show the court that you are a dependent on me. Not in 2011 when you didn't have a job, but 2024 right now. And it's because of 1, 2, 3. So I may be compelled to give you the support that I was giving you for a certain period of time. Not forever, because you'll be back on your feet again. Or if someone is not mentally stable, so they're not able to actually go out, get a job, take care of themselves, you may be compelled to give them alimony. But if they are full-bodied, they are of sound mind, they have their abilities to think and go make money even if they're not educated, it's hard for them to get alimony. However, child support is the money that you give to your ex to support the children. That is not her money to go to clubs on Fridays and Saturdays and show off and entertain young men. No, that is not what child support is.
Young men.
Yeah, because that is what men complain about most of the time.
They do?
Yeah, the men who don't want to give child support, they're like, I'm not giving her money to go and entertain young men. I will not pay child support. But they don't know that there's a difference between child support and alimony. And if you suspect that your ex-partner is not going to use this money for the intended purpose, you don't have to give it directly cash. You can pay school fees directly to the school. You can give them a medical cover. You can provide transport. If it's school transport, pay school transport and all the extracurricular activities or whatever. You don't have to literally deposit M-Pesa or money in her account because you're afraid she'll misuse it. And you don't have to now completely refuse to provide.
Or you can go to the website at Carrefour and buy all those things.
Exactly.
And then send them to the house.
Yeah. You just send them to the house, she will receive.
And then pay rent directly to the landlord.
Yes. You can do that. But if you cannot agree and put it in the prenup and divorce happens, and she takes the kids and leaves, and you say you're not going to support those children because wherever she's gone, let her go and support them with whoever she has gone to. Because most men imagine they're left for another man. So if the lady leaves, he imagines it's because of another man. It's not always the case. It's not always the case. It's the case sometimes, but not always. Yeah, sometimes the lady just wants to leave for her safety, her well-being. It's not that there's another man she's replacing you with. And so because you don't know that, or you think that is what is happening, you say, I'm not going to support the children. Let that man who has taken my wife also take the children. And so you don't.
There's something that I want to ask you that has been subject to a lot of debate by men, that, so for example, I'm paying this apartment, and then the lady now brings another man to live in the same apartment, and she's still insisting on the court that I should be able to pay for this rent. Is there a way that a man can take an issue with the courts with that?
Yes.
And say, no, why am I the one paying and there is another man living there and I see him with that red Subaru going to work every morning?
Yes, you can. And
how do you approach it?
Well, the good thing with the courts is that they already know these things.
They already know.
The court is just a human being like you and me.
Yeah.
So they already know that the minute a husband and a wife separate, they are not expected to remain single forever.
Yeah.
And so they don't compel the man to provide shelter.
Oh, yeah?
They don't. Most of the time, if the woman has physical custody of the children, she provides shelter. Here we are looking at the children. So she provides shelter for the children. And obviously, she's living with the children, so she's paying the rent. The man is not asked to provide shelter for the children if he doesn't have physical custody. Very rare.
Oh, yeah?
So unless you want to. So the court will tell the man...
Unless there is a level of lifestyle that you want for your children. Maybe she wants to go and live with them in Lakisama.
Yeah. In such a case, you can have physical custody.
Yeah.
You can apply for physical custody in court if she will not voluntarily give it to you. And you can prepare and just make your case, plead your case. This is the reason why I don't want my children to go, and I don't want them to be living in a house and paying rent and seeing various people coming in and out. So I want physical custody of the children. I will give their mother access. She can visit them. She can talk to them on phone anytime, unlimited access. And the court will hear you out. But it's very, very rare for a father to be compelled to pay rent where the mother is living if he doesn't have physical custody.
You have always thought that this is the case, that you're always told pay the rent.
No. Why are you watching movies? Because maybe that's not Kenya. It happens a lot abroad. It happens a lot in America, where you find the man is the one moving out and he's still paying the mortgage. And then he comes to see his children and meets the stepfather. And things unfold how they unfold. But here, it's rare.
Would you say that Kenya is very... I don't know, because a lot of I've had very, very depressing stories uko maju about men being told to do a lot of things more than what they cannot. Even if you don't have the money, but you're still compelled that this is your debt to pay. You'd think that Kenya is a bit lenient to spouses.
Yeah, I think Kenya is very fair. Our law is very fair. It's fair to both man and wife, husband and wife, or ex-husband and wife, in that if you're able and you can take care of yourself, the court will not make the other person your beast of burden. No. And when it comes to the children, it's 50-50. You're supposed to provide for this. The responsibility is 50-50. Only that I say, this 50-50 is not really 50-50. Theoretically, it's supposed to be that way. But you may find one person is doing more than the other. But the theoretical idea is that both of you come and take care of the children and have responsibility over the children equally. So I think in that regard, our law is very fair. The problem comes in when you decide we're not going to agree, the two of us, and neither are we going to go to court. Let's fight. And when you fight, definitely one of you is going to get hurt. Yeah. And definitely the children are going to get hurt.
The children are going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So to protect the children, let's, uncouple consciously.
Yes.
Before we end this episode, would you mind taking us through the different types of child custody? Yeah. I remember last time you told me about absolute or whatever, those terms.
Okay, let's see. There is legal custody.
Yeah.
And this legal custody is when the child is born, automatically it vests on the father and the mother. We are assuming a normal circumstance where we are married, your name is on the birth certificate as the father of the child. Automatically, we both have legal custody. And this legal custody enables us to be involved in the child's life in terms of making major decisions, provision, care and guidance, maintaining or moving out of the jurisdiction of this child. This legal custody is maintained until and unless the other party gets sole custody. So that is the second type of custody. Sole custody is whereby one parent petitions the court to grant them sole custody, and that excludes the other parent from having any legal custody. So sole custody means I am the everything of this child, be it provision, be it decision making, be it anything. And most of the times it's given to the parent who has physical custody and the other one is not involved in the child's life. For instance, we can have a child, and the moment I come tell you I'm pregnant, you tell me I have nothing to do with that. So when I go to hospital and have the baby, the part for father, I leave it blank. And
I see our brothers from Mount Kenya wanaweka Wanjiru hapo.
Yes, and I give the child my name, you know. And we continue living like you don't exist. And I go to court to make it now legal, and I asked for sole custody. When I'm asking for sole custody, I'll tell the court, I do not know where you are. You have not been a part of this child's life. This child doesn't even know you. Nobody knows you from my side of the family. You're basically a stranger. And if the court is convinced, they will grant you sole custody.
So sole custody means that the court will not ask the other person to pay school fees, will not ask the other person to pay for health, for food, nothing. Yeah,
nothing. You have a right. You have a parental right toward your child. And
what right?
The right to be in their life, to be present, the right to provide for them, the right to offer guidance, love, care. You can dictate what faith they will be involved in. That is now part of your legal right over the child. But the moment you relinquish that, or the moment the other parent gets sole custody, that's it. You have no right over this child. This child cannot ask you for anything either. So everything now, that's what I meant when I said the one with sole custody, the parent with sole custody is the everything of this child. Yeah.
They make the decision when they go to the hospital and there is a surgery to be done.
Yes.
They will not consult you. They will not call you. They don't even have to tell you that the child is in ICU, nothing.
Yes. If they want to relocate out of the country, they don't need your consent. They don't even need to tell you. They just up and go. Like you're like any other person in the streets to them. They don't know you. Yeah?
In other words, you are not a parent there.
Yes. You may be biologically the parent, but legally you're not. And so this child is now...
And why does the court come to this conclusion that this is something that they should do?
Most of the time you find that the parent who's seeking legal sole custody is at the verge of moving out of the jurisdiction of the country.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and there are some documents that they will be requested to provide at the various embassies and immigration. And they cannot provide those documents because the father will not give them, or they don't even know where the father is.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So to be able to take care of that small issue, you go to court and get sole custody. Now,
so that when the embassy is asking you, say, look, I am the sole owner, I'm the one who is in charge of this case.
Yes, this man is not involved. His decisions, his opinions, they don't matter here. Yeah. And so they get sole custody in such a situation. Other situations, maybe you may not be traveling, but you just want to make it clear that I am the everything of this child, such that if I do decide to get married in future, my future spouse can legally adopt this child. Because you see, he cannot adopt the child if the father still has legal custody.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about sole custody.
Yes,
sole custody.
Yes, but I'm talking this. I mean, divorce is pretty.
It's not that complicated.
You're making it. No, I mean, you see now, the lady has gone through a divorce,
yes.
or has gone through a divorce, yes, and she has lived for another 2-3 years alone, and she has sole custody of the kids. She wants to get married to another man. This man must adopt them.
No, it's not a must. If he wants to adopt them, he can. If he doesn't, he doesn't have to.
But he has to adopt them because if he's working at the UN and he wants to provide insurance to these kids, then he has to adopt them.
Yes. So you adopt them if circumstances necessitate that you do. Or if you want to have legal custody over them. Legal custody is what we talked about first. Now you're involved in the decision making of these children. They are yours, basically. Not biologically, but in all other ways, they become yours. And you cannot get that legal custody if you don't adopt this child. Otherwise, the mother is the one with the legal sole custody.
Mama akikuja na mtoto out of wedlock, like today we can have somebody having 2 kids and they're not married. When they get married, the husband has to adopt these kids.
No, you have to ask yourself first, is their father, their biological father, present in their life? If the biological father is present, you cannot adopt them because the biological father is present.
You cannot take health insurance for them?
No, because these children are not yours. Yeah?
Wow.
The father has already been compelled by court to take health insurance for them. So they already have all these things. There's a time when, I don't know if it was by religion that said that a man and a woman, when they separate, the man cannot continue providing for the woman if she remarries. I don't know if it's culture or what.
It should be culture.
Yeah. So the moment she remarries, now she becomes the responsibility of her new husband together with her children. And then some cultures say that the children remain with the father. Like, it can get really messy and complicated, but if it becomes an issue, check what the law says. So most people, what they do, they don't do anything. They don't take any legal action until it becomes now we need to take legal action. Is when they come to the lawyer and explain. And now we tell them, okay, is the biological father present? Yes, no. This is what you need to do. You want to travel out of the country? Is the biological father present? Yes, no. This is what you need to do.
And the presence of a biological father or a biological mother has to do with papers.
Yes. Because you can be the biological father, but the papers don't show anything.
Yes.
So the mother can go and get sole custody. That doesn't mean you're not the biological father. You're still the biological father. But legally, you have no say over that child.
Yeah.
That's why I say, if you can talk, agree, discuss. You don't have to...
Agree, discuss.
Yes.
Consciously.
Yes. And you say, fine, I'm getting married to this man.
Yeah.
And in as much as I'm getting married to this man, I'm still giving you access to these children. I'm not removing your name from the birth certificate. I am not denying access to you. Yeah? So he will not feel the need to go and apply for physical custody because you've gotten married.
I'm going to Germany, but we will be back.
Yes, and he will give you consent without any problems. Yeah? But if you cannot talk and discuss and consciously agree, then that is when all this chaos comes. I come and tell him, oh, I want to travel, give me consent. He's like, no, I will not give you consent. That man has stolen my children, give me back my children. And you're like, no, we are coming back. And I don't trust you, you betrayed me with that man. How can I believe you? And he refuses. And now she has to go to court and say, oh, you know, I want to leave the jurisdiction, I can't. Can we dispense with my ex's consent because it's just malice? And then the case becomes so convoluted and it goes on and on and on. And before you know it, your trip has been overtaken by events. Better if you can agree. The relationship is over, but it doesn't mean we are enemies. We are going to co-parent these children. I am not going to change their names. I'm not going to deny them, deny you access. We can become one big, happy, blended family.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Anything you want to add before we end? You are talking about the types of custody.
Oh yes, there's also physical custody. I hadn't finished.
Yeah.
No, physical custody is just having the child with you there physically. So
anatoka kwa nyumba yako akienda shule.
So even if they go and visit the other parent, they still have to come back because this is where their clothes, their books, this is home to them. Uko ni kutembea, but here this is home. That is physical custody. Physical custody mostly is given to the mother, especially when they are children who are young or of tender years. But nowadays things have changed because more men are hands-on and they are able to also take care of their child, same way the mother would. Just the same way the mother also goes to work and leaves them with a house help, they are also doing the same. So physical custody is not a guarantee that it will be given to the mother. Sometimes it can be given to the father by the courts. But if the two can agree, whoever who is in a better position to provide the best life for the children can have them, can have physical custody. Yeah, so that's it. We've talked about physical, legal, and soul. And joint custody is where now they're living with me, yes, but I still have the ability to access, visit, make decisions, etc., etc.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. That was a lot to discuss, yeah?
Yes, it was.
And I think at the end of the day, this works well when there is a lot of, when you can still exploit the love left.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this 4th episode. We were talking about matrimonial property, and we were also discussing child custody. So custody, physical custody, and then joint custody, and a lot that we have discussed. Now, Christine has a book called Conscious Uncoupling, which you can buy. By the way, is there a website for it?
Yes, Nuria Bookshop.
Yeah.
So if you go to Nuria, you will find it there. You
Yes.
can order and it's delivered to you.
And I can also leave the description, the URL to Nuria Bookshop on the description. So please remember to subscribe, hit on that notification bell, and if you have a question. Remember also, Christine is also a divorce coach. So if you just want to sit, chill, and talk, right, and ask questions about the direction that you want to take, then Christine can be able to let you know that. What's the name of your law firm?
Muthoni Minor and Associate Advocates.
Muthoni Minor and?
Associates Advocates.
Associate Advocates. So there you go. Thank you very much. Until episode 5. Bye for now.